We hear about tremendous data breaches worldwide almost every month. No company, regardless of size or experience, can avoid being attacked by ransomware or spear phishing at least once in their lives. It might be because of either weak credentials, unpatched software, or some careless employee, but data breaches happen all the time. Hello, I'm Peter. I'm a software solutions consultant at NIX, and I help clients strengthen their cybersecurity and mitigate the risks of breaches. Today, I want to break down 7 of the most notorious data breaches of the last decade, discuss their causes and the ways to prevent them. The first case is the insurance giant American Financial Corporation. This is a great example of how a design error called IDOR, Insecure Direct Object Reference, can entail catastrophe. This insurance giant experienced a massive data leak of 885 million records because of unauthorized access and a simple manipulating URLs and API endpoints. To solve the problem, the company took its website offline, investigated the breach, and finally patched the security hole. It was the right decision, since if the data breach occurs because of IDOR, the first step is to patch the vulnerability. Secondly, you need to review the logs to understand what data was accessed and notify affected users immediately. But the damage was done, and the company faced lawsuits and took a serious hit to its reputation. This case shows us that to prevent IDOR upfront, the team needs to ensure proper access controls are in place, meaning that every request should be validated carefully. It's also good practice to use encrypted IDs instead of exposing database IDs directly. And of course, regular security testing and code reviews are crucial to catch these issues early. Let's move on to the Twitter incident that happened in 2022 because of a zero-day exploit, which means that the exploit targets a vulnerability previously unknown to the company, leaving no time for a patch, hence the term zero-day. When attacking Twitter, hackers got their hands on the email addresses and phone numbers of 5.4 million users. To fix this data breach, Twitter did the right things. Firstly, they isolated the whole system and prevented further damage. Next, they patched the vulnerability. And finally, they informed all affected parties. It might be challenging to prevent zero-day exploits, but there are some things you can do upfront. Use multiple security layers like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and endpoint protection. Constantly monitor your security system and update it regularly to reduce the possibility of a breach. And it will be useful to educate your personnel about phishing or social engineering tactics that often lead to zero-day exploits. Another case with Twitter involved a spear phishing attack when someone hijacked high-value profiles of politicians. You may remember those tweets from Barack Obama regarding Bitcoin. That was part of the incident. Hackers tricked Twitter employees into giving up their login information. They used things like fake login pages and even SIM swapping to steal those credentials. As a result, hackers got access to almost 130 high-profile accounts. This incident shows that social engineering is a powerful tool that can crack through even tough security measures, because people are always the weakest link in your security chain. However, there are a few prevention strategies that I can share with you. The first thing is training your employees to recognize suspicious activity. Then, enable multi-factor authentication on all your accounts and set anti-phishing tools like Mimecast or ZeroFox. Implementing SPF, which is Sender Policy Framework, or DKIM, which is Domain Keys Identified Email, and DMARC, which is Domain-Based Message Authentication Reporting and Conformance Security Protocols, will also be a wise decision. And the final one will be endpoint protection and real-time monitoring of the whole system. The next case on our list happened not so long ago with Garmin, a company known for its wearables and GPS devices. They were hit with a ransomware attack when their website went down and customers couldn't process their purchases. Criminals used a sophisticated encryption algorithm to target the part of the business that dealt with customers, forcing Garmin to make decisions quickly to minimize the harm. Unfortunately, they failed to crack the encryption and had to pay millions of dollars to the hackers to unlock their systems. Ransomware attacks are a real threat, so it's better to apply prevention measures than to deal with the consequences. Here's how companies can defend against ransomware. Make regular backups, train your team on recognizing phishing emails, update your systems regularly, use robust antivirus software, and divide your networks into segments to limit the spread of ransomware. But if ransomware has already attacked you, try to isolate the affected system, assess the damage, and restore your data from the backups. And remember, don't ever pay the ransom if it's possible, of course. In the next case, in 2018, The payment information of over 5 million customers of Ticketmaster appeared on the web. It was a data breach on the side of the external partner's cloud. The lesson we can take from this is clear. Security is only as strong as your weakest link, so carefully evaluate the vendor's security practices, review their history, and examine their data handling policies. Additionally, it might be useful to ask for compliance proof or test their security. Also, when signing the contract, include your specific requirements regarding security and then continuously monitor the vendor's performance. Let's check the case that happened with Twilio, a cloud communications company. Hackers entered their unprotected cloud storage and planted malicious ads into their task router software development kit. Twilio's security team was lucky enough to catch the breach at an early stage, so the infected SDK wasn't widely downloaded. They contained the damage and prevented those malicious ads from spreading too far. So, to protect themselves from malicious ads, it's important to implement ad blocking tools, use only trusted ad networks, and implement a strong content security policy. Also, don't forget about the employee training, regular security audits, and keeping software up to date. It must be enough to seriously reduce the risks of malicious ad injections and maintain a secure online presence for both themselves and their users. Next, I want to talk about cloud migration errors, which sometimes can lead to security issues. Anteus Tecnologica, a Brazilian biometric solutions company, experienced a data breach of almost 76,000 fingerprints that leaked from an unsecured server. That became possible because the company neglected to set a robust encryption on its database after the migration to the cloud. It shows that even if cloud migration offers a great level of flexibility and security, it's still crucial to focus on additional security measures during the migration. I'm talking about a thorough risk assessment, data encryption, and using secure migration tools. Also, it's important to limit the controls of those who have access to the cloud environment and check if the cloud provider meets compliance standards. After the migration, you should encrypt the data, use CSPM tools, continuously check your cloud resources, and implement strong identity and access management policies. Backup recovery is also required. Well, this is pretty much it from my side. My final thought is that most vulnerabilities can be mitigated through a combination of practices like encryption, timely patching, zero trust architecture, network segmentation, and others. So here's my advice: don't neglect robust security practices, and your company will be protected from most cybersecurity threats. Do you want to get more insights on cybersecurity? Push the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated. See you soon.